that may suggest the White Sox are on the road, but in baseball's 2020 landscape, looks can be deceiving, as in fact some of the game's great young stars are in town to wrap up a series finale between a pair of division rivals trying to chase down the Twins at the top of the pack. Frankie Lindor, Jose Abreu, and a decorated cast of all-stars past and present. Some of the game's great young elite starting pitching featured prominently in this one tonight. It's the Cleveland Indians and the Chicago White Sox on ESPN's Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell. And welcome inside our Bristol studios with Alex Rodriguez, Matt Vasgersian. We get you out to the ballpark to watch along with you in just a moment. This was supposed to be Cubs-Cardinals, right, but as that weekend series was canceled, we pivoted into Indians-White Sox and stumbled into one of the best pitching matchups of the year.
Two California studs with two completely different styles. One will go north and south, the other east and west.
Let's talk about the Chicago White Sox, team that hasn't been on Sunday Night Baseball in a number of years, and they have caught everybody's attention with the kind of talent they've assembled. It's an international roster, Cuba well represented, Alex, with some of the game's great young players and some senior statesmen.
Robert and Moncada may get all the headlines, but the guy that sets the tone for this team and has for the last 7 years is Jose Abreu, El Capitan. This guy's a dream delight to manage. He's a guy that hits for power, drives in runs, underrated defender, and all he does is wants to come out and play every single day to lead the way. DHing
tonight is Jose Abreu against Shane Bieber, who is now in the conversation of best pitchers on the planet. Let's get to know him. He came from Santa Barbara, UC Santa Barbara. After growing up in Southern California, fourth-round draft choice back in 2016. Shot through the minor league system. His coming-out party was at the All-Star game, where he was named MVP after striking out the side in his home ballpark. Finished top 5 in AL Cy Young voting last season. And look, he hasn't done it as long as Garrett Cole or as long as Jacob deGrom. But right now, when you're talking about best starting pitchers in baseball, he deserves to be in the conversation.
1,000%, and he struck out 27 of his first 50 with just one walk. Look, the Indians are not trading Corey Kluber unless they thought they had this guy on deck, their future Cy Young. He has a fastball, he's added a cutter, explosive breaking ball, and interim manager Sandy Alomar told us today his breaking ball, the spin, reminds him of Charles Nagy. That's bad news because I could not see the spin of Charles Nagy's breaking ball.
Two teams that have become very familiar with one another in the early stages of the season, and they get together for their last meeting until the second-to-last series of the year in just a moment. We're back with the starting lineups in the opening pitch from the South Side next. Major League Baseball is presented by Taco Bell. Order ahead and pick up your favorites at our contactless drive-thru. Back with Alex Rodriguez, Matt Vasgersian, Buster Olney with us as always. And Buster, we're talking about Zach Plesac today, not because of the great start he made yesterday for the Indians, but for other more unfortunate reasons.
It's exactly right, Matt. Look, the Indians' rotation is the best part of the team. And yesterday, Zach Plesac threw 6 scoreless innings, lowering his ERA to 1.29. But after that, the Indians found out that he violated team protocol and left the club's hotel in Chicago. The Indians moved to immediately isolate him from the rest of the team, and they actually sent him back from Chicago to Cleveland in a rental car. They'll continue to isolate him, quarantine him, and it may be that he won't pitch for another 13 days because of off days. That's the next time they'll need him, Matt.
Boy, we are talking about things at the outset of this 60-game shortened season that we never really dreamt of speaking of, and it's a situation that certainly will be monitoring Zach Plesac being sent home after the great start yesterday. Let's get right to the Indians Taco Bell starting lineup. Look, Cleveland's 8-1 when they score a run first, 1-6 when they do not. Getting on the board early would be key for them. Franmil Reyes has really started to come around, the kind of power they envisioned when they acquired him from San Diego last year. Last 5 games, couple of homers, 7 for 19. The problem for the Indians has been the bottom of the lineup. Their 5 through 9 hitters have combined to hit 150 to start the season, and it ain't going to get much easier against this young bull, 26-year-old all-star Lucas Giolito.
Yeah, the right-hander, 6'6", 245. Basically a two-pitch pitcher. Fastball, curveball, occasional. Best pitch is the changeup, and the big adjustment has eliminated the sinker, four-seamer change, and a complete overhaul in his delivery, which we'll talk about, which has made him a lot more efficient and confident.
Giolito will make his 4th start of the season here tonight. The Indians lineup card being prepared by Sandy Alomar Jr., who is filling in for Terry Francona, who is not with the team. Tito is watching at home tonight. We wish him the speediest of recoveries as he battles a gastrointestinal sickness that's really taken the spring out of his step. I think we'd all agree that what's been good about the Cleveland Indians the last 8 years begins with their manager, Terry Francona. Team's in good hands with Sandy Alomar and a great coaching staff, and we wish Tito a speedy recovery.
Indeed, and all Tito does is win. Wherever he goes, he wins, and it's been no different with the Cleveland Indians, a guy that sets the tone, has a great staff, and Sandy Alomar Jr. at the helm in the meantime.
Two teams that really contrast one another, Alex. This is going to be fascinating to watch because the White Sox score. They hit a bunch of homers. The Indians have gotten off to a historic start in terms of what their pitching staff has accomplished. And we'll see how this series finale and rubber match plays out tonight. Cesar Hernandez, Jose Ramirez, Francisco Lindor to start us out on this Sunday on the South Side. Lucas Giolito looking for his first home win in a while. His night is underway with a fastball taken for a strike.
And something to watch is not football, Matty, but time of possession. Cleveland Indians hardly ever swing. The White Sox can't wait to swing the bat.
0-1 to Hernandez, sent out to the opposite field. Eloy Jimenez battling the sun. There have been some adventures for Eloy in his first year plus roaming a major league outfield, but there's one gone for Giolito to start the night.
In a tough play, this ball be fading away, and he's battling the sun in a nice play.
He's like, yeah, first one's, hey, I'm good. Skunk's out of the box. We'll be all right tonight. Here's Jose Ramirez, just 1 for 9 in the series.
Four straight switch hitters for Cleveland, 5 total in the lineup. That's something you don't see often.
Yeah, check this note out, because on the other side of the scorecard, the White Sox have come in at you with 3 straight switch hitters. So this is the first time in Major League Baseball since June of 2011 that both teams have had switch hitters in their first 3 spots in the lineup. An A's-Giants game back in June of 2011. We visited with Rick Renneria before the game about his White Sox. He is clearly excited about the talent that's been assembled on the field this year, and it's his and the coaching staff's responsibility to make it work. Ramirez loses his bat on a foul ball. That's what that changeup can do to you, by the way.
That is a filthy changeup. And something to watch with Giolito today is fastball command. You want to see him 93 to 95, but the changeup works off that fastball. So far, so good.
Ball and 2 strikes to count to the switch hitting Jose Ramirez. Lucas Giolito's 2019 season, during which, of course, he was an all-star for the first time, really represented a turnaround from his previous year, his first as a White Sox. Ramirez sends that out to center field, pretty well hit. Robert back on it, circling and making the catch. You know, back to Giolito. So in 2018, he finishes the season with a 6.13 ERA, highest among all qualified starters that year. Last year begins, and April kind of starts the same way. He had a 5.3 ERA through the first month of the season. Then he went on a roll and got into the All-Star break with some terrific numbers. Ended up finishing the season top 5 in American League ERA, top 6 in AL Cy Young voting, and in that kind of blink of an eye, tapped into the potential that made him a first-round draft choice by the Nationals a number of years ago. 2 quick outs now for Francisco Lindor. And we'll talk a little bit tonight about how Giolito was able to turn that corner. Four-time All-Star, has hit safely in 8 of his last 10. Batting with 2 gone and the bases empty, just underway on the south side. And a ground ball for Grandal. Yeah, Yasmani Grandal playing first base tonight for the White Sox. Shane Bieber set to go to work on the road. Who has turned into the staff ace, is off to a historic start. Through his first 3 starts of the season, 35 strikeouts. Only Ryan in '73 and Garrett Cole a couple of years ago amassed more strikeouts in their first 3 starts of a season. Bieber has been electric. A winner last time around Tuesday at Cincinnati. Finally gave up a couple of runs. The only runs he's allowed all year.
He's the complete package. He's got the fastball, the curveball, the slider, and the occasional change for lefties. He's added the cutter and has been cutthroat all year long.
Leury Garcia ready to start things out for the White Sox. Garcia, Moncada, and Grandal. Yes, the White Sox too coming at you with 3 straight switch hitters to start the night, as we talked about. And Shane Bieber's evening is underway. Let's give you the rest of the White Sox Taco Bell starting lineup tonight. Chicago winners in 7 of their last 10, a .266 batting average. Good for second in Major League Baseball, but not so good with runners in scoring position. And watch Luis Robert, the dynamic rookie who's hit safely in all but 2 games to start his career. And part of the reason White Sox fans are so excited about this team in 2020. What did Rick Renteria say that they call him? The mannequin?
Well, I know he called him Mike Trout like. But did he call him the Machina?
The Under Armour mannequin.
There you go.
Because the guy's so ripped. 0-2 the count to Garcia. On the appeal, they ring him up. Yeah, why not for Shane Bieber starting his night with a strikeout.
And that's classic Bieber. You get the fastball, the cutter, and the knuckle curve. Here it is. Wicked. That's the pitch that led him to strike out 27 of his first 50 batters this year with just 1 walk. Dominating stuff.
Here's Yoan Moncada now. He's been on base in every game to start the season, and he started with a strike. But there's so much about Shane Bieber that we'll get into tonight in terms of his arsenal, his skill set, his background. And I think a lot of people might flinch when you put his name into the company of Cole, DeGrom, Verlander, etc. If only because he hasn't done it as long. But if you're talking about the best pitchers in baseball right now, on this day, he needs to be in that conversation.
Indeed, in that conversation, and also durable. Only 1 pitcher last year had more innings pitched. That was Justin Verlander. So not only did he give you innings, but they were dominant innings and getting better.
2 balls and 2 strikes, the count to Moncada.
Learned a lot from his good friend Corey Kluber, one of his mentors. Oof.
2 strikeouts start the evening for Bieber.
Wicked curveball. Again, wiffle ball. Filth. And what makes this pitch so much tougher to hit is the cutter that's pushing the lefties off.
Pair of strikeouts for Bieber to start the night. Now it's another switch hitter. First baseman Yasmani Grandal. Grandal doing something other than DH or catch as a White Sox for the first time tonight. Craig Counsell had him at first base on a handful of occasions last year in Milwaukee.
Oof. Electric. And Matty, you'll see two types of strikeouts tonight. Swinging breaking balls down or fastballs away taken.
2 balls and a strike to count to Grandal. You know, along the course of this run that Bieber's off to start the season, he hasn't even been behind in many counts. I mean, he's been so deadly and efficient in each of his 3 assignments this year. Two-two to Grandal has popped up. And a good start by Shane Bieber. Each of these young aces 1, 2, 3 to start the ball game. On to the second, no score. On ESPN, telecast presented by Taco Bell. And great Major League action coming up this week. Tomorrow, the Giants and Astros. Astros losers in Oakland again today. There was a dust-up in that one. We'll talk about it in a little bit. Orioles and Phillies Thursday afternoon, and then a doubleheader, a day-night doubleheader on Sunday. Indians and the surprising Tigers at 1 Eastern. And then Alex Buster and I will be with you for the Red Sox and Yankees next week at 7 Eastern. Meanwhile, back here on the south side of Chicago, Lucas Giolito back to work. He'll get Carlos Santana, Franmil Reyes, and Domingo Santana in the second. Carlos Santana at just $174, only 1 homer, but 20 walks in 16 games to start the season. And nobody else is even close. He gets ahead of Giolito, 2 balls and no strikes. To 3-0 now. This was where Lucas Giolito last year, and I mean, there were many elements where Lucas really shined last year, but when he was behind in the count, his opponent's miss rate was a major league best 46%. He's behind here 3-0 and can't get a call upstairs. It's a 4-pitch walk. And Alex, we were talking about some of the mechanical changes that Lucas Giolito made coming into last year. On the left, old Giolito, long swing on the arm action. On the right, that short takeaway and an improved delivery that people used to refer to as short arming. It is a shorter arm action, and one that Lucas feels like helped him turn the corner in terms of his control, among other things.
Indeed, it's the same adjustment that an outfielder tries to make when it comes to the infield, and that's a challenge, even more difficult for a pitcher, and Giolito's done a beautiful job.
Franmil Reyes lines into center. Santana has to hold, and there's 1 away. Another thing that shorter arm action has helped with is the spin rate on the 4-seam fastball. Look at the spike from when he first debuted back in 2016, 2018, the rough year. The last 2 seasons, including what he's done to open 2020, very consistent and a big improvement.
Yeah, Matty, when you're up there, it's just like a golf swing. More is not better. He's 6'6", so having that be under control. I played with Randy Johnson. He was 6'10", and he talked about getting his big body under control and sync. That's exactly what Giolito's done, and is more compact, less things can go wrong, and is a lot more efficient. As a hitter, you much rather the former Giolito, where he gives you more time for a leg kick. Now he's coming at you, shooting darts.
Yeah, deception, accuracy. 0-1 the count to Domingo Santana. I mean, Buster, we could go on and on with the improvements that Lucas Giolito has made to put him in that all-star position that he sits in now.
Yeah, and pitching coach Don Cooper told me last night, to Alex's point, that in 2018, with his old arm action, he was spinning off. He'd sometimes show his back to the hitter.
Around the horn they go. Since the start of last season, the White Sox have turned more double plays than any other team in baseball. Still scoreless. When you first get to the big leagues and your last name is Bieber, everybody's going to have a ha-ha moment at your expense. And Shane got into the act during Players Weekend last year. He chose to wear "Not Justin" on the back of his jersey. Believe me, we know the difference now. Maybe not when he first got there, but we know the difference now. Each starter off to a good start in this one. Scoreless with Alex Rodriguez, Buster Olney, Matt Vasgersian back for the bottom of the second. Jose Abreu, Eloy Jimenez, and Nomar Mazara for the White Sox. A couple of strikeouts for Bieber to start the game. Jose Abreu falling on harder times of late, 3 for 20. Of course, coming in off the heels of a banner year in 2019 where he led the American League with a career-high 133 runs batted in. 123, that is. Ball and a strike to Abreu.
And you got to love Abreu. He is a dream for a manager, shows up early, works every day, a great example for all the young international players the White Sox have assembled.
Got a hanger that time. Sends it high and deep to left and out of here. Third of the year for Jose Abreu, and I think as soon as Shane Bieber threw that pitch, he knew he was in trouble.
El Capitan, the 5th curveball of the night for Bieber. He will not get back. El Capitan with a beautiful swing. He hits breaking balls every day down the tunnel. Likes to say in that phone booth. And he likes to work slow to fast. One of the best breaking ball hitters in the game. That's a great example right there from Mr. Abreu.
Just the 3rd run allowed all year by Shane Bieber. All 3 of them, by the way, have come on solo homers. Creeping up that list, the all-time homer list among Cuban-born players. Minnie Minoso, the legendary Minnie Minoso, the next in his sights.
Yes.
Cue up Fletch. That's line to Santana, who's playing off the bag at first. Minnie Minoso only played for what, about 70 years in the big leagues? Getting into some heady company there.
And a rare mistake there, Matty, for Bieber. All his runs allowed this year via the home run.
There's Nomar Mazara now with a run in and 1 away. You know, Shane Bieber did give up homers last year. He gave up 31 homers, but that was in over 214 innings. He also struck out 259 batters in those 214 innings. And as a lot of great starters will tell you, from Max Scherzer on down, don't care about the homers, especially if they come with the bases clean.
That's right. All the great pitchers, excuse me, Matty, all the great pitchers give up solo home runs going back to the Nolan Ryan days. But when you face a guy like this who's so nasty, Mark Teixeira used to hit in front of me with the Yankees, and he would go out and hit a bomb. And I was happy, but then I was sad because I'm like, Tex, you just got him really upset.
Ball and 2 strikes to count to Mazara. Well, Scherzer won a Cy Young Award in a season where he led the league in homers allowed. Just missed with that fastball. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Mazara, whose season got off to a slow start, began the year on the IL. Nomar just 3 for 12 to begin his White Sox career. And it's a full count now. Luis Robert waits on deck. Solo shot by Jose Abreu cracks the scoreboard early in this one. And here's the 3-2 home. Lost him on ball 4.
Give us the rivalry, the catch and pinstripes, the beards and green monster. Give us the Red Sox and the Yankees on Sunday Night Baseball. Next Sunday at 7 on ESPN.
1 in, 1 out, 1 on against Shane Bieber here in the second. And now it's the center fielder, Luis Robert. Off to a dynamic start at .322 in the top 10 in the American League. Couple of homers. He's the only White Sox player with even 1 stolen base. He's got 4 bags on the year. Boy, and there's a reason why he's the only rookie in the big leagues to start every one of his team's games this year. A limitless ceiling.
Alex, you had over 12,000 plate appearances in the big leagues. You faced a lot of pitchers. When you look at Bieber's pure stuff, that cutter he's showing tonight, that curveball, I know he gave up the home run, but the pure stuff, how good is it? Who does he remind you of?
Oh, I mean, there's parts of his game that reminds me of I'll have to think about that a little bit, Buster, but right off the shoot, there's a little Pat Henkin in there with the fastball cutter. When Pat Henkin was with the Toronto Blue Jays, he had Cy Young stuff, fastball cutter. While pitchers today try to go north and south, Bieber still sticks to the old Atlanta Braves style, low and away, occasional up and in, but low and away. And his goal is not to make you pull the ball. He wants you to hit the ball the other way or grounds like that.
And the Indians counter a double play in the previous half inning with a twin killing of their own. However, Jose Abreu opens the scoring tonight with his 3rd of the year, and it's a 1-0 White Sox lead. All right, we're going to aggravate everybody in Schaumburg with this. White Sox fans, sorry about this. Look away. The White Sox are saying it's the first time we've been on Sunday Night Baseball since 2013, and we got to talk about the Cubs. Well, yeah, because this was supposed to be Cubs-Cardinals tonight. Series canceled over the weekend. The Cubs were off to such a great start, and the Cubs are the center of our T-Mobile question of the game. Your ticket to the game. We asked earlier, after a red-hot start, 10 wins in 13 games, what are your thoughts on the Cubs? Apparently, we had a lot of respondents calling from the south side of Chicago because 41% of them say they'll start to fade soon. Okay, White Sox fans, you can come back now. They're done talking about the Cubs. Lucas Giolito back to work. 1-0 White Sox on the Jose Abreu homer. Bottom 3rd of the Cleveland order here. Freeman, Leone, and Zimmer. You were talking about Giolito's arsenal earlier, Alex, and you know we hear a lot of pitchers talk this way about figuring out who you are, finding what works. And Lucas had a start last year against Cleveland. He's been really good against the Indians, where he effectively threw 2 pitches. He threw a 2-0 shutout at Progressive Field, 67 fastballs, 37 changeups, 3 curveballs, 1 slider. Just to mess around. Freeman jerks that into the corner. That one will rattle around before Mazzara can collect it, and it's an extra base hit for Mike Freeman to lead off the 3rd. So maybe because of that experience, that game last year that we talked about, Lucas has refined the repertoire on a more permanent basis.
Yeah, we talked about it in the pregame. He is a two-pitch pitcher, basically. And as a hitter, my approach will look fastball up, changeup up, anything down, let it go. Slider, curveball, you can ignore that as a hitter.
Here's the catcher, Sandy Leon. It's going to be a tough matchup for Sandy, who's hitting 80 cents to start the year and is just 1 for 19 against right-handed pitching so far this season.
And this is a good at-bat. You have one goal. It's get Freeman over to third base with less than 2 outs.
You're watching Giolito go to work now, right? Set a guy up with those fastballs up, and then he drops a changeup on you down around your shoelaces. See the breakdown now with fastballs and changeups, almost 1-to-1. Leon bunting, and that'll bounce foul. So here it is, Alex. Here's the fastball changeup combination.
And it comes out of the same slot. So as a hitter, everything comes off that four-seamer up in the zone, and from that same slot, the changeup. He will occasionally throw changeups up for effect. That's something new baseball that was never taught in the past.
Ball and 2 strikes to Sandy Leon. It's pretty interesting when you hear Lucas talk about the changeup that he throws. You know, he had Tommy John surgery a while ago, and it was when he was recovering from Tommy John and rehabbing in 2013. You know, you start that recovery period with little games of catch. You can mess around with your grip and your release point because you can't get out there and wind up and throw. And he feels like the changeup really came to him when he was rehabbing from Tommy John.
And that happens a lot in rehabs, is a fresh start, not only physically but mentally. It allows you, there's the changeup right there. He just spiked it a little bit. And a good take. Great look at it. Big guy, 6'6", huge hands. That ball looks like a golf ball coming out of his hand. Another one.
That's a good take. Full count now, 3-2.
And the reason he takes that pitch right there, he's looking for it. Just like the Freeman double, 2-1 changeup. There was a 2-2 changeup. Leon sitting all over it. There's no way any human alive can take that pitch like that unless he was sitting dead changeup. And here comes another one, 3-2.
Payoff pitch home. Loses him on ball 4. I can't tell if Jose Ramirez is encouraging teammates or if he's trying to get on somebody. I can't tell what he's doing, but he's having a ball.
Very confident guy and the life of the party. Very underrated player, Ramirez. But boy, he's having a great time.
So the first 2 hitters reach a double and a walk. Nobody out for the center fielder, Bradley Zimmer.
And Matty, to your point about a 2-pitch pitcher, so far for Giolito, 30 pitches, 15 fastballs, 15 changeups. 50-50. The bunt's in play here.
Zimmer shortens up. Boy, for the Cleveland outfield, just looking for anything to get going, looking for one of these guys to get hot. So far this season, they rank dead last in batting average, dead last in slugging. The Indians overall slugging under 300, and not a lot of productivity so far from that group of outfielders.
And the reason why the bunt's a great play here for Sandy Alomar's Indians, with Bieber on the mound, you just want to bunt this ball softly to the third baseman, advance the runners, and keep the pressure on the White Sox. Don't have the pressure put on the Indians.
2 balls and no strikes to Zimmer, who spent the first half of the season last year rehabbing from a 2018 shoulder surgery that ended up costing him a lot more time than he ever thought. Dynamic defensive player, and if Bradley can find the offensive game that he's capable of, he's going to be the answer to all their questions. 2 balls and a strike.
I love the bunt here. You have Cesar Hernandez on deck, a contact guy with a struggling offense who's struggling to score runs. Why not put the pressure off Zimmer, bunt the ball, and let Hernandez do what he does?
You're like a one-man advocacy campaign for the bunt. Really, I know you well enough to know maybe you got some back end somewhere on the bunt play.
I'm a struggling bunter. You know, and people laugh all the time because they say, why are you always talking about bunting? You hit all these home runs. It's because it's playing the game the right way. It's, you know, in basketball, you start with layups, free throws, then three-pointers. Same thing in baseball. You work from small to big, not the other way around, and especially when you're struggling.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Zimmer. Giolito back in the count, and Zimmer fouls that one away. 2 walks and a double, 8 at-bats into the game. Cleveland unable to break through and translate any of that into a run. We talked about how good Giolito's been against the Indians, including the way he started tonight. 22 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings against the Indians. Got him. First of the game for Lucas Giolito.
And here's a fastball up right here. 4-seamer, great rotation, top part of the zone, and swings right underneath it.
So now Cesar Hernandez, runners at first and second, 1 gone, and Jose Ramirez, who's just been bouncing off the walls in the visiting dugout, steps into the on-deck circle. Hernandez with a drive into center field, chasing Robert, and it gets over him. Freeman comes around to score easily. Let's see if they try it with Leon. 1 run comes across. So much for the consecutive scoreless inning streak against the Tribe, and it's a 1-1 ball game.
And for Hernandez, who's been their most consistent hitter, gets the fastball here and gets the head out. 4-seamer, middle. A great contact hitter in Hernandez, and a fast start for him, making a good first impressions for the Indians.
RBI number 7 as an Indian for the longtime Philadelphia Philly, and now it's Ramirez who hooks the first pitch into right. It's going to bring in Leon, and the Indians take a 2-1 lead. I can't tell if that was a changeup or if he tried to get away with a breaking ball that time.
Changeup here. There you have it right there. Matty, you're right again.
I just tumbled. Right, it didn't have that bite to it.
And again, you're seeing these swings over and over again. Guys are sitting on changeup, and Giolito has to make the adjustment and start going maybe 60%, 70% fastball. Get these guys going a little bit too comfortable.
Reminder, MLB.tv brings you every regular season out-of-market game live or on demand. Stream games, highlights, and recaps in high definition online and on your favorite devices. Visit MLB.tv. We were watching that Oakland-Houston game on MLB.tv at the same time. Ravi was talking about it on Baseball Tonight. Brawl that happened between those two teams. The league discipline will be coming down in very short order. Ramon Laureano hit twice and then made a bull rush toward the Astros dugout. Here's Francisco Lindor now. Cleveland on the board and with a 1-run lead. Indians lineup has been so feast or famine this year. Based on how good their starting pitching has been, you know, you'd think they were 10-4 and in first place with a bullet. They just haven't been consistent enough offensively.
And for Lindor, who has not been driving in runs this year, this is a gimme putt right here. Easy fly ball, make the game 3-1. Don't try to do too much. Think big part of the field.
Ball and a strike to count from Giolito. And Lindor puts it in play to second. Mendick to Garcia, back to Grandal. They double him up. No word on a challenge. 2-1 Cleveland. ESPN's telecast of Major League Baseball presented by Taco Bell is brought to you by Mother's High Performance Car Care, formulated for fanatics. Hey, introducing Quick Pick, MLB Rally's new game where fans predict outcomes and compete for cash. Restrictions apply. See rules and enter at MLB.com/QuickPick. Back with Alex Rodriguez, Buster Olney, Matt Vasgersian in our Bristol studios. Indians and White Sox on the south side of Chicago. Such a nice sunset and a beautiful day for baseball. Wouldn't it be nice to be at the, maybe we'll get back to the ballpark someday, Alex? I don't know.
Oh, I can't wait. Look at that. I'm so jealous.
I kind of like this. Look
No,
at that. It's
I'd rather
hot
be at-
there.
I'd rather be at the park.
sweaty.
Chicago, you gotta love Chicago. We would be at Gibson's tonight after the game.
That's right. That's
Instead,
right.
I'm driving 3.5 hours.
Be sitting right behind the plate next to the A.J. Pierzynski cutout. They got Pierzynski with his tired platinum hair too.
I would be with the Big Hurt somewhere tonight. Frank Thomas.
Yeah, you would.
Chi-Town in the summertime.
Do you like? By the way, I would like to. There's A.J. Look at him. And Jim Thome too. Some of the all-time greats in White Sox history. So I'd like to be there on a night like tonight because on Sundays, all year, and on select other dates, the White Sox are wearing the 1983 throwbacks. Apparently, the current players, love them, and for fans like you and I, and for me, that guy who's got a little bit of a thing for late 70s, early 80s baseball, like that takes you right back. That was, I think, 83 was the year Ron Kittle hit 35. 83, that was the All-Star game when Freddie Lynn hit the slam at Old Comiskey.
Good memory.
Oh, that's the stuff. That's why we still love baseball. It makes an impact on you then, and it stays with you. Counts 2 balls and 2 strikes to James McCann. Didn't they retire Harold Baines' number with the White Sox while he was still playing?
Wow.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Got out in front of it. But he was playing somewhere else.
Okay.
I think he might have been in
Baltimore,
Oakland
maybe?
or Baltimore.
One of the good guys.
Still full to the catcher, James McCann, an all-star last year for the first time in his career. The thing about the 83 throwbacks, I think it works on all the body types. James McCann is a big, strong catcher. It's working for him. You can be a smaller guy, middle infielder. It works for you. Still a full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Fisk. I can see Fisk in this uniform.
Oh, yeah.
Back, yeah.
83. Heck yeah. Oh, yeah. Into the opposite field. Now, there are good White Sox throwbacks, and then there are these. Yesterday was the anniversary of the ill-advised shorts that the White Sox rocked under Bill Veeck in 1976. They wore them through. Look at Pat Kelly. Look at the sequence for Pat Kelly. Sliding to second, sliding to third, and bloodied and damaged, scoring a run. Ralph Garr going to get it in the shorts. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Slow pitch softball.
They wore the shorts that was in game 1 of a doubleheader, and then they wore them in 2 additional games, and then that was it. For understandable reasons.
I certainly don't have the legs to pull that off.
Could you imagine playing Major League Baseball in those things?
No, I'm too much of a wimp. I mean, you got to be going home bleeding every day. I would have the nastiest cuts through the uniform. Imagine in shorts.
Counts 0-1 on Danny Mendick. A super utility player who is figuring a little bit more prominently in the White Sox plans day to day because of some injuries. It's kind of a cut right out of the Rick Renteria mold, as a matter of fact. Rick was a similar player. Handle the bat, don't strike out, play multiple positions. That kind of sounds like what everybody's after in baseball these days.
Yeah, just 26 years old out of Rochester, New York. Reminds me of his hitting coach, Frankie Menachino. A good contact guy, spent some time in Oakland, but I love these kind of players. Hard nose, contact.
A ball and 2 strikes, the count to Mendick. On the ground for Lindor. To Hernandez for 1, back to Santana, and it's the second double play turned behind Shane Bieber tonight.
At Amica, we believe in life's extraordinary experiences. We are an insurance company that delivers an experience that meets the only standards higher than ours. Yours. Experience Amica. Auto, home, and life insurance.
So we go on the air talking about all the strikeouts between these two guys, and there have been 4 double plays in this game so far. The ground ball has been the weapon of choice.
It's an action.
Here's Leury Garcia. Into the opposite field. Freeman turns once and puts it away. Nothing comes of the leadoff single. We played 3 complete, 2-1 Indians. Clap or cheer for your favorite team, even when you're not at the ballpark. Now you can with MLB's Cheer at the Ballpark. Visit MLB.com/cheer for a full list of cheerable games and let your team hear from the excitement at home. Lucas Giolito back to work. And as we go to the 4th inning in a 2-1 Cleveland lead, it's our pleasure to be joined by former AL Cy Young Award winner and 2-time All-Star Dallas Keuchel on the telecast tonight. And Dallas, thanks for the visit. Thanks for joining us and taking some time. I know you're not working tonight, so we thought we'd put you to work as a broadcaster. And as Carlos Santana digs in, we certainly want to talk about you and the start to your White Sox career, but when you watch Lucas Giolito, walk us through what you watch. How does he reach the kind of success that he reaches, and what makes him special?
Well, I think the first thing that pops out with me is the fact that he's willing to put in the work and the time and the effort to make himself who he wants to be. And I think any pitcher that wants to establish a career and prolong it for as long as they can is willing to do that. So initially, right off the bat, that's what perked my interest with coming over here, and he hasn't disappointed. So I'm anxious to see how his year 2 kind of comes about, and hopefully he takes it to year 3, 4, 5, 6, and on and on.
Hey, Dallas, I am glad I'm interviewing you, not having to face you, because every time I face you, that wicked sinker and slider gave me headaches. But now in Chicago, Don Cooper, White Sox pitching coach, been there 19 years. What have you learned from Don?
Well, Coop's a special breed, first of all, so he keeps us on our toes, but he's an old school mentality. He's you got to be tough, you got to be prepared, and I mean he throws out Burley a lot, the guys that he's had before us, and what they did. So the knowledge he has in that head of his is beyond a lot of people in this game, and he keeps it live with us too. But he's an integral part of the staff as well.
Hey, Dallas, we were talking earlier about this, the new look, Lucas Giolito, how he's kind of refined the delivery, and he's now a little bit more of a quote-unquote short armor to home plate. It's a pretty big mechanical change for a guy who had a lot of success as an amateur, a lot of success in the minors. Did you ever go through anything that dramatic in your career?
Well, I did when I first got up to the big leagues, and it was a similar process. Now, I wasn't a big of a prospect as Lucas was, but at the same time, to a man, you got to figure out what you can do in the big leagues and what you need to work on. So I believe it was after the 13th season, I had some soul searching to do to figure out what I needed to change and what I was good at. What I was good at was pretty much sinking the ball, and I could change it. I could change it up with the number 4. The changeup, but I needed a good breaking ball. I needed something to keep him off balance, and then I found the cutter in 2015. So I just kind of progressed slowly, and it's a process. But at the same time, I knew if I had the right mindset, I knew that it would eventually come.
Dallas, as someone who's played baseball a long time, how has 2020 been playing under the health and safety protocol?
It's different. It's weird, but I mean, it's a conversation every day. I mean, guys have never been a part of this, and I for one love this game a whole bunch, and a lot of other guys do too. So the chance to play baseball even through this personally gives me a lot of happiness. Even if there's no fans, we know that the fans are watching back home, and we appreciate that, and we know that they want to be here. But for us just to be out here competing for each other and for the city, for our teams, is something that we'll look back on hopefully 10, 20 years from now and say, hey, we made it through this. We can make it through anything.
So for a pitcher, Dallas, and we heard all the stories during summer camp about how players are only supposed to touch their own equipment and stay in a very small area in the clubhouse. I mean, if you throw a bullpen between starts, do you have to pick up all the balls and put them in your own, container afterwards? How does that work?
Well, I think you're talking to the wrong guy, Matty, because in my bullpens, I'm about 50%, 60% effort, and I try to go through with just one ball. So usually at the end of the bullpens, if I got to go through multiple balls, I'll just call it quits and just leave. It's tough. Guys are learning every day. I mean, it's only 60 games, but at the same time, we're trying to keep everybody as healthy and safe as possible. And when you got this many guys, it's tough to corral, but I think the training staff has done a great job, reinforcing stuff. MLB's doing their part. And it's just on the fly. So we're trying to do the best we can. I know our team, we've talked about it many times, especially before the season. And it was, hey, let's keep as safe as possible and healthy, because we got a good shot to make the playoffs and make a run.
Hey, Dallas, we appreciate the visit. I know you're pitching tomorrow against the Tigers, so go get them. Good luck tomorrow and the rest of the season. And thanks again for taking some time with us.
Yeah, guys. Thanks for having me.
1 out, 1 on here in the 4th as Lucas Giolito goes back to work on Domingo Santana with a 3-2 count. And he loses him on a changeup. Second walk of the inning by Giolito, and the 4th of the game for Lucas. So walk, strikeout, walk is how the 4th inning opens for the Indians, and that'll bring up Mike Freeman, who doubled and scored back in the 3rd. As we talked to Dallas Keuchel, it just kind of re-emphasizes the commitment the White Sox have made to this year and beyond. I mean, this short-term window, they're done hearing about let's build and get good, right? We're building up something good here. It's supposed to be good now.
And give, yeah, absolutely, Matt, and give Kenny Williams and Rick Hahn a lot of credit for putting the combination of young international players and these free agent signings, but quality people is the people that Kenny Williams has historically always tried to get to that White Sox clubhouse.
And they wrote some big checks this winter, not with the idea that they'd, catch up to the Twins in 2023. That's right on the corner, 1-1. A lot of free agent signings to go out and make the trade for Nomar Mazara, but Edwin Encarnacion on a one-year deal. They write a big check for Grandal. Same for Keuchel. Shore up the pitching end with Gio Gonzalez coming back again to the south side. Steve Cishek. Ball and 2 strikes to Freeman.
And what I like about those 6 names right there is 6 baseball players, pitchers and baseball, that love the game of baseball, go out and compete, are tough, and can continue the Rick Renteria DNA that they have going in Chicago. They have a lot of good energy going and a very, very bright future for the White Sox.
And Freeman can't lay off the high, hard stuff. Third strikeout of the night for Lucas Giolito. Well, youth is certainly served on the 2020 White Sox. Some of the best young talent in the game on both sides of the scorecard. Robert, Jimenez, Moncada, all under 25. Nick Madrigal, who's hurt right now, just 23 years old. Michael Kopech is not in uniform for the 2020 season. But between Giolito and Cease, and with Dallas Keuchel in there as a veteran presence, as good a three-headed monster among starters as there is.
And speaking to Frankie Maracchino, the hitting coach of the White Sox, he says this bunch reminds him of the Oakland A's. A little bit of a college fraternity. They really care. They work hard. They follow Jose Abreu's lead. That's a great thing. And look, they really care. He said that's why the numbers with scoring position struggle a little bit. They put a little bit too much pressure on. But boy, the combination of caring and talent, I love that for the White Sox.
Sandy Leon behind quickly, 0-2. Giolito trying to fade a couple of base runners that are there via the walk. And again, nobody lays off the high, hard stuff. Giolito with 3 strikeouts in a scoreless 4th. Still a 2-1 lead for the Indians as this one goes to the bottom half of inning number 4. White Sox scored first on a Jose Abreu homer. Cleveland came back with 2 in their half of the third on RBI hits by Cesar Hernandez and Jose Ramirez. And here we are with the 2-1 Indians lead on a gorgeous night for baseball. At least it sure looks like a gorgeous night for baseball.
Perfect.
We can look at the internet and find out how hot it is, how humid it is, but it just looks like a pleasant time to be outside in Chicago. Shane Bieber back to work. Yohan Moncada, Yasmani Grandal, and Jose Abreu. So Bieber started tonight, struck out the first 2 White Sox he faced, and has since allowed a homer, a walk, and a single, but has managed to keep things relatively clean thanks to a couple of well-timed double play balls. Popped him up into center field for Bradley Zimmer. The Indians knew they had a star with Shane Bieber, but the rest of the world got in on it when just 5 days after being named as a replacement player on the All-Star team, he struck out Wilson Contreras, Ketel Marte, and Ronald Acuna Jr., and then went on to become just the 3rd player to be named MVP of an All-Star game played in his home ballpark. The secret was out.
So Bieber grew up in Southern Cal. He grew up watching and loving Mike Trout. So right after he came out and did that incredible performance, went in the dugout, he had the locker next to Mike Trout. Mike Trout says, "So, what do you think for the MVP, truck or car?" So Mike Trout predicted what he was going to do, and it was just a nice moment. MVP, homecoming, and sit next to your favorite player of all time. Pretty cool.
I got a comp for you here as Yasmani Grandal takes a strike. And bear with me here, and because Shane Bieber's right-handed. He is a right-handed, about 15 years come later version of Cole Hamels.
Ooh.
Southern California kid from like the flip-flops culture whose outward appearance might not suggest a super competitive dude because he's laid back. But to hear everybody around the Indians tell it as soon as the guy puts the uniform on, I know it sounds cliche, but he flips it into another gear, and there's a nasty breaking ball to take care of Grandal.
And here's that breaking ball, a filthy one again. Now what's interesting is there's that knuckle curve and just drops off the table. Matty, what's interesting is Abreu hit a curveball for a home run. If you're Abreu, do you eliminate the curveball and look heat? I would. Does he throw him the curveball again?
Ball and no strikes to count to Jose Abreu. The homer came to perhaps get Jose out of a stretch in which he was 3 for 20. This is turning into a pretty good head-to-head matchup for Jose. Good hammer that time.
And I like that. If you get a pitcher with less experience, that's the breaking ball, the wicked one. A young pitcher would throw him a bucket of fastballs, and that's where you get home run number 2. Nice job by Bieber by making it neutral again.
Let's take it back to the home run. Leading off the second.
Boom. That's a get me over breaking ball. And it never got over. It went over the fence. You can put it on the board.
Oh, you going hawk on me.
That's my guy. I love him. One of the great guys in baseball.
No
Legend.
That's one of the unfortunate, unintended consequences of what's happened in sports, right? No Hall of Fame induction ceremony this year. So Hawk and the rest of the inductees are going to have to wait till summer of 2021. Sharply hit to shortstop for Lindor. Side goes down in order in the 4th. Shane Bieber and the Indians trailing the White Sox by a run. Finished off a sweep with the Houston Astros today to win their 9th in a row, but at what cost? Ramon Laureano was hit twice in this game, and after the second one, exchanged words with the Astros dugout. Looked like he made a bull rush for Alex Cintron, and then it got a little ugly. And you can rest assured that the league's looking at this, and they will come down swiftly and perhaps heavily on Laureano, among others, for what happened in Oakland today. Real shame, because Laureano had been one of the A's hottest hitters. It's one of the hottest teams in baseball, and they're going to be without him for a little while. That's clear. Lucas Giolito back to work. He gets Bradley Zimmer to start things in the top of the 5th. But, let me ask you this. If you're Ramon Laureano, you get dusted twice. And we know about the bad blood between those two teams, right? The A's have been complaining about what Houston was up to for years before the rest of the world finally got wind of it this past winter. So there's that baggage. If you get dusted twice and you make a move aggressively like Laureano did, you're going to get fined and suspended. But shouldn't there be somebody on the other side that has the same punishment or similar punishment?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it's an impossible situation for everybody involved, including Major League Baseball. But look, if you're a coach of the Astros and you just got whacked twice. And you're emotional, flares are flying. I would be so upset. And if you have a coach egging you on, well, there should be some ramifications to that as well.
Yeah, we're not privy to all the conversation on the field. We're looking at the video. But, Buster, what is your estimation for punitive measures handed down in this one?
Yeah, Matt, I think Alex Centrone, the coach who was basically gesturing toward Laureano like bring it on the dugout, I think he's going to face one of the longest suspensions in Major League Baseball history. You know, one of the longer ones. You remember Pete Rose, 1989, got 30 days. But think about the context of this. Alex Centrone, a coach inciting. Major League Baseball comes down hard on that. All the concerns about social distancing and all the focus on the Astros situation, I think there's a chance that we may not see him for a long time. It's been made very clear by Major League Baseball this spring, meetings with Chris Young, head of discipline, that they were going to come down hard involving situations with the Astros. One interesting part of this, too, of course, is that Ramon Laureano, the team that he came up with was the Houston Astros.
Yep.
I wonder about whether or not there might be some history there in some form or fashion.
And Buster, the thing is, it's hard enough for players. The players are doing a tremendous job. If you're the coaches, managers, front office, you're supposed to be the adult in the room here. You should not be making things worse. You should be making things better. And another thing to note, with no fans in the stands, you can hear everything. So all the tripping that goes on, players can hear. Not only can they hear, but they never forget. Buster, to your point, I'm not sure if there's history there, but if you're a coach, just calm down.
Hey, meanwhile, this is a fair ball off the bat of Cesar Hernandez, and unfortunately, an overzealous ball boy actually came out to make a play on what he thought was a foul ball. So it's going to be a two-base hit awarded to Hernandez.
First double on the fastball. This time the changeup, and Hernandez whacks it inside the first base line. Oh boy!
Yeah, nobody feels worse than that young man for sure. So now Jose Ramirez pops up on the first pitch. Jimenez coming on for it, called off by Robert. I got it is universal, right?
Yes, international.
even if Spanish is your first language, your primary language, I got it is everybody knows what you're saying. There have been some adventures out there so far in the outfield for the White Sox, just on-the-job growing pains for super talented athletes.
Matty, I played for about 23 years, and I heard I got it, maybe a handful of times. The truth is you don't hear infielders, but you see hand gestures. And one of the advantages or disadvantages is you hear too much. And that can scare players. Players are not used to hearing that much from other players.
Strike to Francisco Lindor. Meanwhile, what's been happening with Lucas Giolito in the last couple of innings? Since the second walk of the fourth, he has gotten ahead of every hitter.
And he's gone to the fastball and the slider, replacing the changeup. A nice adjustment for him. Like that.
1-1. Even in an empty ballpark, you don't think somebody could hear the I got it?
Yeah, in an empty, yes, for sure. But I'm saying with fans in the stands, you don't hear it. So if I'm a shortstop or third baseman going back, I never heard Ken Griffey Jr. behind me. But now I get to hear too much.
Ball and 2 strikes to Lindor.
I would always tell Jeter when we were at Yankee Stadium, I can't hear you, but I'm looking at your right hand. And if you tell me go away, which I was praying he would tell me go away because I hated fly balls, and he was great at fly balls, I would say, oh, come on, get that right hand up.
I think it was Lindor that wanted time there. Ball and 2 strikes from Giolito with the runner at second and 2 gone.
Another RBI situation here for the 4-time All-Star Lindor. There's 2 things he can do to you and 2 things only. Fastball up for the strikeout or changeup down, 50-50. And this should be the changeup.
You know, a strange kind of number on Lucas Giolito last year, and we saw a 2-out hit by Cesar Hernandez. I'm sorry, a 2-strike hit by Cesar Hernandez. Last year, almost half the hits that Lucas allowed came in 2-strike counts, and that was one of the highest percentages among all qualified starters. It kind of runs in counter to the success that he had last year. 3-2 pitch, and that time Lindor spits on the changeup and draws the walk.
And Matty, the reason why hitters are better with 2 strikes against Giolito is he feeds off the aggressiveness of the hitter. So 3-1, 2-0, hitters tend to get big. He goes up and he goes soft. With 2 strikes, you have the choke-up approach, and you go less is more. You try to play a little pepper, and that makes him better against this style of pitching.
Well, Lucas has really had to work hard to keep this a 1-run game. He's walked 5 tonight. That's his highest walk total in a game since a 5-walk outing against the Crosstown Cubs in July of last season. And now it's a guy who's drawn 2 of them against him, and that's Carlos Santana. 22 walks for Santana in not even 17 games this year.
11 walks in his last 17 at-bats.
A swinging, and he lines it to the right side of the infield to wrap things up. They finally make him put it in play. 2 left stranded as the outfield digs in the White Sox half of the inning. Two to 1 Indians in this series finale, the rubber match of 3 between these 2 AL Central rivals that won't see one another again until the second last series of the year. Eloy Jimenez, Nomar Mazara, and Luis Robert against Shane Bieber in the 5th. Jimenez lined out in his first try tonight. That makes him 0 for his last 17. Very rarely do you enter the way Eloy Jimenez did last year and have such a big season at such a young age. Led all AL rookies in homers and RBIs. And then there's another new kid that comes in your sophomore season that gets all the headlines. And that's how talented Luis Robert is. Each of them will bat here in the 5th. He swung the bat, and the strikeouts recorded to open the last of the 5th. It's pretty amazing, you know, not only the talent, but the commitment the White Sox have made to young players before they even got into a big league game. Because in both cases, for Jimenez and Robert, long-term guaranteed deals prior to debuting in Major League Baseball.
Absolutely, and it's a big risk, high risk, high reward, right? And give credit to Kenny Williams and Jerry Reinsdorf. Look, Jerry Reinsdorf is about 84 years old. He's got 6 championships with the Bulls. He's got 1 with the White Sox, and trust me when I tell you, he's looking for another one with the White Sox.
Here's Mazara. He walked in his first at-bat tonight. Yohan Moncada had debuted as a major leaguer, but was far from established when he got his 5-year, $70 million guarantee. And then the long-term commitments made to Jimenez and Robert, as we talked about.
It was interesting they're playing the Indians because it was John Hart who made this kind of cool. He was doing this with Jim Thome, Carlos Baerga, Kenny Lofton back in the day. But John Hart was doing it after year 1 and 2. Jerry Reinsdorf and Kenny Williams and company are doing it before they play in the big leagues.
2 balls and a strike to Mazzara. Two balls and 2 strikes. Two strike counts are interesting for Bieber, and we, with the help of our friends at Inside Edge, cooked up some telling numbers on him. So many of his strikeouts this year have come looking. 15 of his 35 at the start of play tonight looking. He gets one swinging on Mazzara for his 5th of the ball game.
And he shook 3 times to get to his wicked slider. I mean, wicked. I mean, that ball almost hit his back knee and just tight. Mazzara thinking that it's a fastball that's going to come back, and is a slider that goes right into him.
2 strikeouts start the 5th, and now it's Luis Robert. So it's interesting when you think about that many strikeouts by percentage taken as strike 3. Compare that number, 15 out of 35 for Bieber, with somebody like Jacob deGrom. 26 swinging, only 2 looking. And Bieber is working so quickly here middle of the game, we don't even have a chance to dig into it. We'll do so a little later on in a 2-1 Indians lead. Welcome back to Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, telecast presented by Taco Bell. Hey, download the MLB app to get in-game video highlights, live pitch-by-pitch, breaking news, player updates, stat leaderboards, and much, much more. Lucas Giolito back to the mound in the 6th inning, trailing by a run. They'll get Franmil Reyes, Domingo Santana, and Mike Freeman for the Indians. And Reyes on a first pitch breaking ball sends a high drive into left for Jimenez, tiptoeing up. He's tiptoeing near that net for a reason, America. It has not always been his friend. There have been some adventures out there for Eloy, still learning the craft. This is opening weekend. The netting didn't come into play here, but the wall sure did. And then more recently, Thursday, a drive by Christian Yelich. There's that netting, and there's Eloy getting very familiar with it. That led to an inside the park homer.
Well, it's a tough net.
Tangled up like a marlin in a fishing net. Not a Miami marlin, a literal marlin. By the way, break up the Marlins.
That's right.
They're off to a pretty good start.
You got to give a lot of credit to Don Mattingly. I mean, just he said, I was actually meeting some of these guys for the first time that were replacing some of the COVID-19 folks.
You know, we could play the old if the season were to end today game.
Yep. I like that game.
It is a little premature. Breaking ball, got him. Well, the Marlins have been the talk of baseball because of not only the adversity they've been through, but the start that they've gotten off to after a long layoff, taking on the New York Mets today. And the Mets bullpen would actually hold a 4-2 New York win on behalf of Jacob deGrom. They got a good young shortstop in New York. 2 of them, actually. There's a strike to Domingo Santana. So if we do that game, if the season were to end today, the Miami Marlins would win the NL East, and they'd be off to the playoffs. Actually, they'd be in second place. These would be your postseason teams, right? Rockies win the West, the division leaders on the left. Second place teams, they all qualify in the middle. And the Padres and Phillies would get the two kind of at-large bids, if you will, on the ground at first. And there are two gone. So take this picture in. And with the exception of the Marlins, who have shocked everybody, where are you most surprised, Alex?
I like the Rockies. The Rockies are a nice, pleasant surprise.
No doubt. Colorado has pitched very well, kind of, at least for the time being, curing a franchise-long problem. Here's Mike Freeman.
Your Padres loaded with young talent.
Boy, loaded.
Tatis, another one. I think that's number 8.
8.
Machado warming up.
Machado
hit.
hit.
Fun team to watch.
Yeah, he hit 2 today as the Padres knocked around Madison Bumgarner.
Blackman hitting over 400 in Colorado.
And a very quick 1-2-3 6 turned in by Lucas Giolito. Here's a look at our upcoming schedule for the week, and in fact we've added a game since last we went through this exercise about an hour ago. Tomorrow, Giants Astros. The added game is Wednesday, 3 Eastern for the Diamondbacks and Rockies. Thursday, Orioles Phillies, Indians and the surprising Tigers, part of the Sunday day night doubleheader. Alex, Buster and I will be with you for Red Sox Yankees a week from tonight. D-backs losers today, and Buster, as we talked about a moment ago, Madison Bumgarner not treated very respectfully by the Padres. They got to him for 4 homers, part of a really rough start for Bumgarner in his new uniform.
He got absolutely pounded, and afterward his manager Torey Lovullo told reporters that he's being sent to see doctors. His fastball velocity down significantly. Last year, 91.4 miles per hour average fastball velocity. Today, he didn't go over 88 miles per hour. He's allowed 7 home runs in 17 to third innings this year, guys.
Wow. James McCann leads things off in the 6th. It'll be McCann, Mendick, and Garcia. You know, it gets you into a bigger conversation just because it was a shortened schedule and because the assumption was that players were working during the layoff between spring trainings part 1 and 2. A lot of people assumed that there'd be no buildup required. You got to hit the ground running. Starters are going to go 6-7 innings. There's always a buildup.
Absolutely.
Difference is this year, you know, you don't have that long of a runway because it's only 60 games.
But for the players, nothing's ever going to replace the 6 or 7 weeks in spring training down in Arizona and Florida. And it's a mentality, it's your body, but it takes time to long toss and get your body going. And it's a lot to ask from these players and pitchers to get ready in 2 to 4 weeks, but they've done a very nice job of it.
Ball and 2 strikes the count to James McCann.
And the biggest challenge, Matty, is for the power pitchers, guys that are throwing up their 95, 97, 98. If you're an old school guy like Burley or Jamie Moyer, you're just playing pitch and catch with the catcher. Much easier for that kind of thrower.
You know, a good example of that would be James Paxton, who pitched today and actually had his best start of the year at Tampa today. Struck out 11. Did not end up in the decision in a 4-3 Tampa Bay win. But his first few starts were a little uneven, right? We were talking about the velo not being there. He was back to being James Paxton today.
Yeah, and I would give the 4th or 5th start, I would treat it like the first start. And guys like Paxton, if there's no health issues, it's going to take 4 or 5 starts to get your engine going. And that's a good sign for Paxton and the Yankees.
Stays 2 balls and 2 strikes to James McCann. Shane Bieber, on the other hand, did hit the ground running this year. Next 2-2. And McCann lays off a tough curveball to make it a full count. Bieber struck out 14 in his first start of the year, followed that with a 13 strikeout performance in start number 2. 3-2 pitch, grounded foul again.
McCann went to college at UC Santa Barbara, the same college that Bieber walked on. As a freshman, he walked in. His college coach, Bieber, said, "This guy throws so many strikes. You can give him a drink, spin him around 3 times, and he can still throw strikes."
Oh, my. Squares up a fastball and hits it a mile to left. James McCann's 3rd of the year. Second solo shot of the game for the White Sox, and it's a 2-2 tie.
And you can put that one on the board for the White Sox. A loud sound, a cutter that did not cut. Perfect, short, tight takeoff. Well, that's a great sound if you're a hitter. And it sounds even better in an empty stadium. This was one of the toughest parks to hit in baseball. It's become one of the best hitting parks in baseball over the last 7 to 8 years.
Well, and on a warm night like tonight, as Danny Mendick takes a ball outside, it goes a little better here.
Yep.
I was watching the White Sox yesterday, game 2 of the series, with our colleague Jason Benetti and former AL Cy Young Award winner Steve Stone, and they were talking about, you know, as the summer warms up on the south side, flies around a little bit better here, and that's been the case the last couple of days of the series.
And Matty, I remember in 1994 when I first played there, it was almost impossible. I would hear Edgar Martinez, Ken Griffey Jr., Jay Buhner saying, if it's a night game, boys, forget about it. Hit the ball on the ground. Later in my career, they did something around the scoreboard there that changed the wind pattern, and the ball just absolutely explodes out of that stadium. One of the biggest shifts from pitcher's heaven to a hitter's paradise.
Well, they had to get it right for Albert Bell. You spend the money for Albert, make sure he's going to be able to hit it out. Any other team in baseball, James McCann would be the starting catcher and headed back to the All-Star game. It just so happens that they bring in Yasmani Grandal, and I don't know that there is catching depth anywhere in the league, even close to what the White Sox benefit from. Got him looking.
Did you just reward yourself for spending a perfectly reasonable amount of time on the couch with tacos from Grubhub? Grubhub's gonna reward you for that with a $5 off perk.
Strikeout number 6 for Bieber tonight, the first that has been of the looking variety. And here's Leury Garcia now. Garcia has struck out and fly to left.
And Matty, you talk about the depth of the catcher. McCann, who's from Santa Barbara, didn't go to Santa Barbara. What did the Tigers think of him? Well, the GM, Al Avila, got rid of his son, sent him packing to keep McCann as a catcher. Great young man, great energy, and a nice pickup for the White Sox.
That speaks loudly, right? Send your son out of town. Son, I love you, but we got a guy here. We're gonna play this guy. Ball and 2 strikes to Garcia.
And Alex Avila can play.
Got him. Dropped the hammer on him with 2 strikes and makes quick work of Garcia for the second time tonight.
There's that breaking ball. That's the Mike Mussina type breaking ball. Knuckle curve. 12-6. 2 home runs, 1 on a bad breaking ball by Bieber, 1 in the cutter to McCann.
So here's Moncada now, hitless tonight. Tried to check it on the appeal. He went around.
Now, Bieber's had about 5 or 6 check swings. Only great pitchers with great stuff make those type of check swings. That's always a good sign for pitchers. Another one.
Didn't go that time. A ball and a strike. Bieber creeping up on 90 pitches. Tie game. Right on the corner.
2 cutters in the hands and then a fastball away. That ball looks like it's in the third base dugout as a hitter. Now he's ready for the curveball.
2-2. Opponent's miss rate versus a non-fastball against Bieber last year was a major league best 60%. And it'll be a full count now to Yoan Moncada. Play the guessing game with me. What, you're in the box right now. What are you looking for here on a
not curveball? And I'll tell you why, Matty. He threw him 2 curveballs. He did not even move. He is telling you he's looking breaking ball. So if you're Bieber, I would throw the cutter right now or that fastball away.
Full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Tripled up on the curveball, then lost him on ball 4.
Yeah, and I don't like that. He told you the 1-2, the 2-2. You threw your best breaking balls. He did not budge. He's giving you information. The catcher or the pitcher should take that and adjust. Go the cutter or fastball away.
Just the second walk by Shane Bieber tonight. So homer, strikeout, walk. And now Yasmani Grandal, who also was 0 for his first 2 tonight. Grandal started play by hitting safely in 6 of his last 7.
Grandal is the one guy in that lineup that will take a walk. He really knows the strike zone. Talking to Menachino today, earlier today, he says he's my one patient hitter. And he will pass the baton.
That was a tough take there.
His last 4 breaking balls, they've taken it nicely. Now, what would I be looking for? Is he tipping something? Because human beings are not supposed to be taking breaking balls that comfortable.
The shorter one that time, swung on and missed. Seven strikeouts, 2 homers, 2 walks. There have only been a handful of balls in play. And they say that he swung the bat that time, so it's 2-2 to Yasmani Grandal. This pitching matchup living up to everything we hoped it would. Shane Bieber and Lucas Giolito, all-stars for the first time in their careers last year, both opening day starters this year. 2-2 pitch.
Last 5 breaking balls, they've taken it very comfortably. If you're the Indians, you got to start the bullpen going with 96 pitches. If you're Bieber, you have to say to yourself, they're seeing my breaking ball very well. I can go fastball away or cutter in, get rid of the breaking ball.
Leon wants it on the outside corner. And it's a fastball lined into the gap in right center field. Apparently Yasmani Grandal was thinking along the lines of you there. That's going to wave around Moncada. Second run of the inning, and the White Sox have taken a 1-run lead.
And the great rewards from being disciplined and laying off the breaking ball. You get the 3-2 cookie fastball right down Broadway. Right down Michigan Avenue in this case with an RBI double. Good discipline and then attack 3-2. First run allowed by Bieber. That's not via the home run.
Grandal's 9th RBI in a White Sox uniform.
Man, and that's what Grandal does for this lineup so well. He brings balance. Is what Bernie Williams did to the mid-90s Yankees. You have a switch hitter in the middle of the lineup that makes it really tough on that opposing manager. And a guy that can pass the baton, hits with power, a very nice sign for the White Sox.
Hard-throwing rookie right-hander James Karinchak is up in the bullpen for the Indians. And now it's Bieber creeping up on 100 pitches here. Runner in scoring position with 2 runs in and 2 away for the DH Jose Abreu, who has homered tonight. So entering this inning, only 6 batters had a plate appearance of 5 or more pitches against Bieber. But in this inning, 4 of the 5 batters he's faced have been in there for 5 or more pitches. Finds a swing and miss on that breaking ball to make it 0-2.
And if you're Abreu here, 2 strikes, no problem. Shoring up, think right center field. Don't overswing. You already have a home run. Just base hit back up the middle.
Ball and 2 strikes. 3 runs against the Indians pitching staff the way they've been this year is like a, I mean, that's like a huge story. Cleveland off to such a historic, stingy pitching start. McCann led off with a home run, and that after staying alive in a full count. Mendick struck out looking, Garcia swinging, then the walk to Moncada, and that came after Bieber was ahead in the count, and then the RBI double by Grandal. And now the 1-2 to Abreu. Struck him out. 8 for Shane Bieber tonight, but the White Sox break through with a pair of runs. A homer and an RBI double, making it 3-2 Chicago. Welcome back. Let's take a look at our game track brought to you by Geico. A 1-run lead for the White Sox. Nobody has had more than a 1-run lead, and a well-pitched night on the south side. Both starters still factoring in the mix as Lucas Giolito goes back to work in the top of the 7th. They'll get Sandy Leon, Bradley Zimmer, and then top of the order Cesar Hernandez.
And this is a huge, huge inning for Giolito. Really want to reward your hitters for battling against Bieber. Shutdown inning is what the White Sox are looking for right here.
Leon has walked, scored, and struck out tonight. After the Indians got their 2 runs in the 3rd, Giolito's allowed only 1 hit. And another strikeout for Lucas. Well, looking around the league, and as we were supposed to be on the air with the Cubs and Cardinals today, but that series was canceled, there is a lot of doubt around when the Cardinals will be allowed to play again. Postponed. 3 versus Milwaukee, 4 versus Detroit, this weekend versus the Cubs. And we learned earlier today that what was supposed to be a 3-game series with the Pirates starting tomorrow has also been canceled. I mean, I don't know how we're going to find enough calendar days for the Cardinals to get on the field and catch up with the rest of the league here, Buster.
That's exactly right. They would, when they would come back, have just 46 days to play 55 games. They haven't played a game in the month of August. They haven't played a game in 11 days, and they also have not been working out. So there's probably going to be a period of time required for the Cardinals players to get back on the field and go back to their regular work. Look, it's a competitive disadvantage to not be playing and to lose guys like Paul DeYoung and Yadier Molina, but just not being able to be active at all while all these other teams are rolling along, that's all 2020, that's for sure. Very different year.
No question. I mean, the Cardinals have played 5 games. 5 games this year. And again, no firm start date for them to get back to work. As Zimmer has struck out for the 3rd time tonight. Well, St. Louis isn't the only team, of course, to have lost games because of the COVID-19 pandemic. They've lost the most, but the Phillies, 13 games off their schedule. They hope to make up the majority of those. The Marlins have not seemed to miss a beat after losing 10 games off their schedule. The Yankees, just based on who they were playing, have had 7 cancellations, as you can read down the list. Lucas Giolito, meanwhile, is in a groove with back-to-back strikeouts to start the 7th inning, and now 0-1 to Cesar Hernandez. We want to welcome those of you who just got through watching the PGA Championship to the south side of Chicago with Alex Rodriguez and Buster Olney, Matt Vasgersian. We're in the studio in Bristol. A 1-run game in this series finale rubber match of the 3-game set. Went on the air advertising a terrific starting pitching matchup, and yes, it has materialized.
This is where you pretty good pitch there. And he wanted it, and the White Sox bench wanted it, and you can hear that clearly.
That one's right on the corner.
And talk about an adjustment for Giolito. The first set, 57 pitches, only 4 swing and misses. The next 50, 12 swing and misses. Fastball and the slider has been the adjustment. Like that.
Got him looking. Lucas Giolito strikes out the side in the 7th. Everyone loves baseball traditions, so stay tuned for the 7th inning stretch, brought to you by Jim Beam. ESPN's telecast of Major League Baseball is presented by Taco Bell. Order ahead and pick up your favorites at our contactless drive-thru. Well, Shane Bieber's night is through. 6 innings of work tonight. He leaves trailing. 8 strikeouts tonight for Bieber.
And for Bieber all night long, those glove side dominance. Cutter here to the lefties. Sliders underneath the belt. Another one. And then 2 breaking balls. Wicked. Good as advertised. A strike throwing machine.
So Bieber exits in favor of the hard-throwing rookie right-hander James Karinchak. Boy, what a statistical anomaly this guy is. Indian fans very excited for this guy's future. 74 strikeouts in just over 30 innings last year. So you do the math on that, and that's 22 strikeouts per 9 innings. Be the highest rate with at least 30 innings of work in the modern history of minor league baseball. I say modern history, and that begins in 1963, apparently, for those that keep those records. 24-year-old right-hander who has already kind of assumed the role as one of their secret weapons. Woo. Then he's got that too, and he's funky, and he wears number 99.
Rick Vaughn. Wild thing.
95-mile-an-hour fastball up around the eyes. The previous pitch was a big curveball that some scouts have graded at a max score of 80 on the 20 to 80 scoring scale. Oh man, just keep him healthy, right?
This is not a fun at bat, especially for a right-handed hitter.
Yeah, Alex, as I'm watching him throw, the guy who comes to mind absolutely is a former teammate of yours, Kyle Farnsworth, who not only big and he can throw hard, but he kind of looks a little crazy too.
Yeah, indeed.
Oh, there's the big curveball that Jimenez can't lay off of.
That's a filthy, right over the top. A lot of elbows, shoulders, and then over the top breaking ball. There's a lot of torque.
He's got that old Rick Sutcliffe move where he wraps the glove underneath his armpit, drives off that back foot. This guy's a beast. One gone on the strikeout, and now it's Nomar Mazara. It hasn't just been great starting pitching by the Indians. We went on the air talking about what a historic start they're off to as a pitching staff. The unfortunate part of what's happened for the Indians to start the year, and we're seeing it tonight, is just a lack of offensive pop to support the great staff. Cleveland has lost 7 games this year, having allowed 4 runs or fewer. 16, all 16 of them, 4 runs or fewer. We've got a ways to go to catch the Billy Martin, Art Fowler-led 1981 A's, who had 21 such games to start the season. But for perspective, the 7 losses, allowing 4 or fewer runs. No other team has lost more than 4.
And as a team, you always rather be on that side of the trade. You always rather have great pitching with struggling hitting. As you get into the season, the hitters will come.
Well, we're 23 days away from the trading deadline, and I'm sure there's a lot of talk in Cleveland like, let's bring in a bat. Curveball fouled away. Again, the quandary is the trading deadline is 3+ weeks away, but it feels like we've only just started the season, which in fact is true. So what do? Do you wait for guys to come around, or do you go out and pull the trigger on a trade to try to win this year?
I love it. I love all the options. The fact is, it's a college baseball season. It's a sprint, 60 games, and you don't have the luxury of 2 or 3 months to get right. So if you're Lindor, you have so much more pressure on you this year than any regular year.
Well, let's take a look at the American League playoff picture. We did this exercise in the NL. Oakland, the Twins, and the Yankees lead their respective divisions. The second place teams in the West, it's the Rangers. Rangers are sub 500 and in second place in a weakened AL West. The Tigers off to a surprisingly strong start in the Rays. The Indians would have the 7th spot, and the White Sox would have the 8th. Don't sleep on the Orioles, a half game out of a playoff spot.
That'd be something. If they sneak in there, that'd be great.
Get the Orioles and the Marlins in the playoffs this year.
That's what makes this season so much fun, Matty. Anything can happen in 60 games. Is who's the hottest, who's the healthiest, and who practices the power of restriction. The most disciplined team, the healthiest team, will win a championship, not necessarily the best.
Full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Mazara, and there's ball 4.
Yeah, so guys, just a second ago, I got a text message from the manager of the Cleveland Indians, Terry Francona, is watching from Cleveland, and he mentioned of his right-hander here, Gronk is pitching.
I like that. I like that comp. I don't know that that's ever been said before. The Rob Gronkowski of Major League relievers.
I like it.
James Karinchak.
Tito, that's a great one.
Strikeout and a walk. And here's Luis Robert. The legend of Luis Robert. And it started after he signed his professional contract to get into the White Sox system. And White Sox personnel put their eyes on him for the first time. All the reports that came back to Rick Hahn and company were pure athlete, too good to be believed, gonna be the next great thing. And then all the anecdotal things started coming. You know, I saw him outrun a school bus, and you know, some of the fishtails started to be told. On the corner to put him behind 1-2.
You know, something, Matty, that does not get enough credit. And Robert from Guantanamo, Cuba. Having a guy like Rick Renteria on the bench, it's conducive to their development. Talking Spanglish, talks English to the American guys, but having someone with your native language, it's very important and a great move for the White Sox having Renteria. Help coach and mentor these young guys.
And a swing and a miss by Robert. Time now for the Corona Premier moment. James McCann leading things off with the White Sox trailing by a run in the 6th. Fouled off a number of 3-2 curveballs and then got one that wasn't spinning and sent it deep into the night.
Cutter that went bad.
A single and a homer tonight for the White Sox catcher. You know, getting back to Luis Robert for just a bit, because we're watching him, you and I, for the first time in earnest tonight. The fishtails, you know, the legend of a player like that with such infinite potential. It grows every time he takes the field. So you heard all the stories of his minor league prowess and some of his amateur exploits. His first big league hit registered at 115.8 miles an hour. And according to StatCast, it was the highest exit velocity ever for a player's first major league hit. So these, you know, these tales are just growing. Feats of heroicism. Everything the guy does is quantified. Fastest, best, strongest. And he's still a kid.
And Matty, you mentioned some of the...
Here's one for you. Last year in the minors, you know the old Durham Bulls, hit the bull, win a stake? He hit it over the bull.
Wow.
At Durham Athletic Park last year in the minors. His teammates and the other team apparently they just stared at it slack-jawed.
I don't blame him. He's a good-looking kid. He has great energy, very good work ethic. And inevitably, you're going to go into the comparisons of other great power right-handed hitters from the White Sox, whether that's Frank Thomas or Bo Jackson, Albert Bell. And, of course, he hasn't done that yet, but those stories will continue to carry on. And the comparison is, does he have the same power as those guys? You'll hear that for years to come.
3-1 to McCann. 96-mile-an-hour fastball in the hands that McCann spoils away.
And for Robert, 32 home runs, 36 stolen bases last season in the minors.
I mean, he can run too. We haven't really seen that tonight because he hasn't had a chance to show us that part of his game, being kept off base. The only White Sox player with a stolen base this year. He's got 4 of them.
30-30 potential one year.
Mazzara will get a head start off of first. Here's the 3-2 curveball, locks him up. Oh man. Gronk taking defenders with him. Francisco Lindor bats second as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Stay tuned after the game for Sports Center with Steve Levy and Kenny Mayne. College football's uncertain future. Tatis Jr., the future face of baseball. And one-on-one with PGA Championship winner Colin Morikawa. Cal Berkeley guy wins the PGA Championship this weekend at Sports Center, coming up right after the game. Pitching change. Lucas Giolito was terrific tonight, striking out 9. Really rounded into form after allowing the 2 scores in the 3rd. And it'll be right-hander Evan Marshall taking over here in the bottom of the, or top of the 8th inning rather. Marshall has pitched scoreless baseball over his last 17 outings, dating back, of course, to last September. Another strikeout weapon. We saw James Karinchak strike out 3 in the previous half inning. Evan Marshall struck out at least 2 batters in 4 of his first 7 outings this year. And he'll face Jose Ramirez, Francisco Lindor, and Carlos Santana in the 8th. Ramirez has an RBI single tonight. There really hasn't been much happening on this side of the scorecard for the Indians, outside a lot of walks. And as Terry Francona could attest to, watching at home tonight, that's been said more often than he cares to admit. 2-1.
And Marshall features a fastball, curveball, and a change. Got 4 outs on Friday night versus the Indians. Throwing more changeups than ever. Something to watch.
Big curveball in for a strike. You know, after about 13 days of the season, we saw the stat where, for the first time ever, fastball usage in Major League Baseball had dipped below 50%. Oh, and on the backswing, it looked like McCann got popped. Strikeout recorded for Marshall. There's 1 away.
Swing and a miss here in the helicopter by Ramirez. Oof. Oof.
So 1 gone for Francisco Lindor. The Indians started play tonight, and again, this is a team that's got 2 hits tonight. They started play with the 3rd lowest contact rate in the American League, but beyond the contact, it's the lack of pop. At the time of the first pitch tonight, their team slugging percentage was below 300. Only 2 teams in the live ball era have finished a season with a slugging percentage under 300. Most recently, a pretty bad version of the Texas Rangers. The 72 Rangers finished the year with a 290 slugging percentage. Tune into Eric Nadell's podcast for why that happened, if Eric has such a thing. 2 balls and a strike. Two and two to Lindor. Apparently, there's still some of Puig's hair dye left in the clubhouse for the Indians, because Lindor's still rocking a little bit of the blue that Puig went with last year.
You gotta love this guy. He's struggling, but he is one of the best players on the planet. I call him a 6-tool player. The 5 tools and the smile, the big Magic Johnson smile.
Well, one of the bright young shortstops that's approaching a payday at the end of next season. And there are a handful of them. Full count pitch to him, a breaking ball bounced foul. It's going to be pretty interesting to watch this winter with guys like Lindor, Corey Seager's on this list, Javi Baez, Trevor Story. Do any of them get locked up in advance of their walk date at the end of next season?
My prediction is the first guy on that list, Javi Baez. I believe the Cubs will sign him. He's must-watch television, as is Lindor. But it'll be interesting to see what happens in this post-COVID-19 environment.
The only guy on that list, well, I shouldn't say the only guy, because they're all having different types of starts to the season. But Carlos Correa a year ago would not have been the guy that you'd say he's the hottest Houston Astro. I mean, Carlos Correa is kind of the only Astro that's off to a good start. Altuve under 200. Alex Bregman struggling. George Springer under 200. Curveball got him.
And for Giolito, made a nice adjustment. You'll see all fastballs here. Not one over 93, but is that late action, that riding fastball. And the spin rate has gone up more than 200 RPMs since he made that adjustment with his arm path. Very impressive. 102 pitches, his last 20, probably his best.
Here's Carlos Santana, who's walked twice and grounded to second base tonight. It felt like Giolito really kicked himself into gear after the 2 walks in the 4th. Right, he walked 2 batters, but he did strike out 3 that inning. Went on to strike out 5 more before his night would be through.
He's a very smart young man. It's very difficult for a young pitcher to make that type of in-game adjustment. They were laying off his changeup. He read body language, put the changeup away, and attacked 2 pitches, fastballs and sliders. Beautiful result.
Yeah, I think some credit should go to his catcher, too, because James McCann caught all 29 of Giolito's starts last year.
Wow.
This was the first time that he caught him this year. Right? First 3 starts for Lucas were with Yasmani Grandal. There's a clear comfort level there with McCann. 3-1.
And I think that's underrated. Matty has a great point. 29 starts. There's a Gronk, Tom Brady approach, right? There's a comfort level, and you can actually think ahead of what's going on. And I remember talking to a lot of pitchers, and they will tell you privately, I'm a much different pitcher throwing to so-and-so versus throwing to so-and-so. They won't admit it, and they won't tell the media that.
Right.
But those are the kind of conversation that happens in the clubhouse.
And lo and behold, another at-bat, another base on balls for Carlos Santana, his 3rd of the night. What kind of walk pace would he be on in a 162-game season? Seriously, I mean, it's unbelievable. That's 23 walks in not even 17 games. Nobody is close to 23 walks elsewhere.
And as the guys around him start swinging the bat a little bit better, he'll start getting pitched a little bit more often. That's a byproduct of struggling hitters all around him. I wouldn't pitch to him either.
So it'll be up to Franmil Reyes to try to pick up the base runner with 2 gone. Reyes has struck out twice tonight, 0 for 3. Had been swinging a hotter bat at the start of the night. Well, these are the kind of situations that the Indians were dreaming of when they shipped him in from San Diego last year. A big right-handed presence in the middle of the order, something that was sorely lacking. And Reyes delivers. That's into the left center field gap. They're going to wave Santana around. No play at the plate, and the Indians have tied it in the 8th.
And the Santana walk pays off here. Takes a fastball, 94 miles an hour. Drops the hammer on it. Splits the outfielders, and Santana with a really nice job here. Good secondary, round second and third beautifully, and we got a ball game.
Reyes will be removed for a pinch runner after driving in the tying run, as Delino DeShields Jr. takes his spot at second base. So now it's Domingo Santana, who's 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. And Domingo pops it up. Mazzara asserts himself, not before the tying run can cross. 2-out RBI single by Franmil Reyes makes it a 3-3 game.
When I play the game, I'm playing my game. So why not have fun?
Sports are back. We got to be responsible to bring it to a higher level.
Tomorrow, cover story drops. Jeff Tassin getting inside the mind and the success of Fernando Tatis Jr., who is off to quite a start. 8 home runs gives him a share of the major league lead, tying him with Yankee Aaron Judge. Fast becoming a fan favorite in San Diego and beyond. And that's coming out tomorrow on ESPN.com. Nick Whitgren is the new pitcher for the Indians. And a different narrative, a 3-3 tie score after the Franmil Reyes RBI single last half inning. It'll be the number 9, then top of the order hitters for the White Sox.
And Whitgren with a fastball change, occasional curveball.
Danny Mendick's 0 for 2 so far tonight. If you take the home runs out of the equation for the White Sox, it has not been a super productive offensive night for them. And certainly Rick Rennery is hoping it's not a part of a trend. They started play just 3 for their last 38 with runners in scoring position. As Mendick's late on a fastball, there's 1 gone.
Time to play some baseball.
I can do baseball. Me too.
If we can play baseball, I'm in.
Oh, we're doing baseball?
Yup.
Hang on.
1 away, base is empty for Leury Garcia, the top of the order. 3-3 our score here on the south side tonight. Garcia's hitless in this series finale and just 3 for his last 20. You sense we're going toward extra innings, Alex?
I want to see it.
I love it.
I love it too. By the way, Matty, I've never heard you say you love extra inning baseball.
I don't love anything. But I think that the extra innings rule has been a lot of fun. It's a fly ball out to left center. In fact, I stayed up late against my better judgment. Bag of Funyuns, bottle of Diet Coke, bang. I'm up late watching the A's and Astros extra innings game on Thursday. Or no, Friday, the one that went 13 innings. And there were so many twists and turns to the extra innings themselves. At one point, Tony Kemp sacrificed a runner to third. You got runner at third, one gone. And this kid, Enoli Paredes, was filthy and shut the door. There's a knock into the corner. And Moncada wheels into second with a 2-out double.
Good fastball away here. Stays on it. Head down. Thrown away. Hit it away. Slicing line drive for a double.
Yasmani Grandal delivered the one-run lead back in the 6th. It was a 2-out RBI double. He's got a 2-out base runner in scoring position here in the 8th. And pitching coach Carl Willis is going to come out to chat with Whitgren.
And you have a choice here if you're the Indians. You can pitch to switch hitter Grandal, or you can pitch right on right to Abreu. Both have big RBIs, double for Grandal, home run for Abreu. So pick your poison here if you're the Indians.
Well, Grandal, the switch hitter, in from the left side, and Whitgren's had more success against left-handed batters this year. Just 1 for 9 against him. So I'm going to guess they come right after Grandal.
I would pitch to the lefty, but I would pitch difficult, and I would hope that he chases. If he expands, good. If he doesn't, then if you go 2-0, 3-0, maybe you put him on and go to Abreu.
Yeah.
And what you want to tell him if you're the catcher right here, pretend it's 0-2 from the first pitch. Give me your best, give it to me early.
Moncada the go-ahead run after the 2-out double here in the 8th. Same pitch, that one over the outside corner, and it's 1-1. Since 2015, the only catcher that's driven in more runs than Yasmani Grandal is Yadi Molina. And now Grandal finds himself behind 1-2.
Change up, fastball in. Probably another change up here, low and away.
Still a ball and 2 strikes on Grandal.
White Sox with 12 strikeouts in the night. Indians looking for 13 right here.
Well, yeah, these line scores are almost identical from strikeouts. Each team with 3 runs on 5 hits. No errors on either side tonight. Two balls and 2 strikes to Grandal.
Great baseball game.
Whitgren gets the call.
Not there, no.
You can hear Yasmani say, that's not there, no. Still a 3-3 game.
Oh, come on. That's not there, no.
That's the way the previous half inning ended on that high fastball that Whitgren got the call on. Yasmani Grandal thinking otherwise of the call. Would have been interesting if Yasmani was catching tonight.
Yeah.
He'd have an extended window with which to continue the conversation. Instead, making his first start at first base. So here we go, still tied at 3. And a new pitcher for the Chicago White Sox. Right-hander Alex Colomé, unscored upon in his 6 games to start the season so far.
Fastball 94 miles an hour and a lot of cutters, 75% cutters.
Freeman, Leone, and Zimmer here for the visiting Indians. A lead that has not gone deeper than 1 run for either side. And it's flip-flopped a couple of times. 3 runs, 5 hits, no errors on both sides so far. And Freeman is struck out.
Good slider here, 89 miles an hour. Downward angle. Late. There's a spin.
One gone for Sandy Leone. It's left-hander Brad Hand who's up in the Cleveland pen. A ball and a strike from the former Rays closer Alex Colomé. Colomé family with a lot of stock in the Rays, recalling that Alex's uncle Jesus also pitched for the Tampa Bay Rays. Sharply hit but handled by Grandal, and there are 2 quick outs here in the 9th.
And Matty, with Brad Hand warming up the left-hander, you might see Rick Renteria go to his bench with Edwin Encarnacion, looking for one big swing on the bottom half.
Double barrel working down there for the Indians now. Here's Bradley Zimmer with 2 gone. When the White Sox bat in their half of the 9th, they'll have Abreu, Jimenez, and Mazzara. 4, 5, 6 part of the order. Plenty of pop, plenty of opportunity to win it with 1 swing.
And in a short season, this is a 2-game swing, so every game counts. 2-game swing for these teams.
Not a huge sample size as you saw, but in 1 plate appearance, Zimmer has homered against Colomé. One and 2.
Giving the high strike and the low strike. Now hitters, they'll tell you, I can give you 1, but not both. Both those pitches were outside the box. Grandal up and now down.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
I think that ball hit him.
Indeed.
On the back leg. That slider there. Cut slider.
Oh, on the foot. Or did it? I think it got him on the foot. So Zimmer, who's got great speed, is aboard, and that'll bring up Cesar Hernandez, who's doubled twice tonight. You could say one of the few Indians that's enjoyed a good offensive start to the season, as the batting average is now up over 300.
In a running situation here for the Indians. With a good contact hitter at the plate. Been the best hitter early in the season for the Indians. If you can get Zimmer to second, a base hit could be the winning run out there for the Indians.
Oh, and 1 to Cesar Hernandez. Slaps it to third. And that'll wrap it up. Hard to tell from where we sit in the studio, but it sounded like Zimmer might have been running. Still a 3-3 game.
Yes. Might have a little catcher interference here. I thought I heard something.
Yeah, you bet. That's what the chirping was about in the dugout. It wasn't Zimmer running. It was clearly catcher's interference. So Hernandez aboard, and they do get Zimmer into scoring position, though in a way none of us thought about.
Right.
And there's runners at first and second for Jose Ramirez.
E2, error on the catcher there.
I'd love to quantify, and such data is available. I'd love to know if McCann sets up a little closer to the plate than most. He's been hit with a backswing, and this was the guy that did it, Jose Ramirez. It was an accident. And then a catcher's interference play. You see, Jose's about as deep in the batter's box as he can be. At least on that shot, Alex, it doesn't look like McCann is well, maybe he does tuck in close.
You know, we had a guy in Johnny Damon that would have like 8 to 10 of those a year, and it's more of the hitting and the hitting style than where the catcher is positioned. If you have a long swing that lags behind, you tend to have that path where you can hit that mitt.
Maybe it's something about guys that come up with the Tigers as catchers, because Alex Avila, who you're talking about earlier, notoriously close. Well, what a tough pitch to lay off that was. 2 balls and a strike now to Ramirez.
Tough pitch here. Great eye, great hand-eye coordination by Ramirez. Right guy, right spot for the Indians in Ramirez. I love contact hitters here. Contact is so important, and that's what the Indians have at the plate right now.
The RBI single for Ramirez came in the third. Runners at first and second with 2 gone, and now it's a 2-2 count. White Sox scored first on the Abreu homer. Cleveland took a 1-run lead in the third. The White Sox got their 1-run lead back with 2 in the 6th. The Indians tied it with a lone score in the 8th. Zimmer was hit by a pitch. Hernandez got on base on catcher's interference. I mean, they could load the bases here without the benefit of a hit and potentially get the go-ahead score across the plate without the benefit of a hit. It's a full count to Ramirez now.
And if you're Ramirez, you have to think sliders coming. That slider cutter, call him his best pitch. Lindor on deck.
3-2 pitch is bounced to the right side for Mendick. Had to work for it in an unusual manner after a hit batsman and a catcher's interference play. A scoreless top of the ninth. To the last of the ninth, and a chance for the White Sox to walk it off. 3-3 ball game, last of the ninth, and the middle of the Chicago order. Franmil Reyes delivered the game-tying blow in the top of the eighth. And here we go with Jose Abreu, Eloy Jimenez, and Nomar Mazara in the last of the ninth. Phil Maton is the new pitcher for Cleveland.
Fastball, cutter, and a curveball. Tremendous spin rate guy.
Unscored upon in his 3 outings so far to start 2020. And a swing and a miss by Jose Abreu, who has homered tonight. A solo shot came against Shane Bieber, leading off the second. Both Bieber and Giolito, the latter even more so, were terrific tonight. 9 strikeouts for Giolito, 8 for Bieber, neither factoring in the decision. And Abreu tried to check it but went around. A strikeout for Maton.
Breaking ball, and then the heater up top. 94 miles an hour, 94, looks like 98 after those breaking balls.
Starting to get that feeling, starting to get that extra innings feeling. The Indians lost their second game of the season in extra innings at home against the Royals. There's a ground ball to the lone left side of the infield guy, and that's Francisco Lindor. 2 gone in the ninth. White Sox have not had an extra innings game so far this year, so they'll be moving into uncharted territory with the new rule in play. Maton needing 1 more out to get you there. Mazara has walked twice tonight and struck out. Off to a 3 for 13 start in his White Sox uniform. If this does go to extra innings, Jose Ramirez would be the runner at second base when we start the top of the 10th. It's the player who recorded the last out in the previous inning. And that runner is placed on base, technically scored, on a team fielding error. And that is to alleviate that run being charged as an earned run to whoever's on the mound. But I don't think we really care about how it's scored. I find myself doing a lot of that. You know, you're calling a game, you're like, hey, got him 5-3 on the ground out. Does anybody care that it was a 5-3 ground out?
I don't think so. But we might see a bunt. We might see a bunt.
Oh, yeah.
A little strategy, right? Move him over, get him in.
If we see a bunt, does Jennifer show up with a birthday cake?
No chance. That was like a 1 and out. That's like Duke basketball. You get in 1 and out. She came to 1 game. That was it.
Well, the suggestion that I just had from our producer, Jeff Define, because I'm not going to own this line, is maybe somebody could bring a bunt cake. Just get that rim shot. Cue up the rim shot. Full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Mazzara.
Good take there on a wicked breaking ball. Mazzara, who hit a home run in Texas, 505 feet. The White Sox would love one right now. That was in Texas as a 20-year-old.
Mayton, the former San Diego property, looking for a 1-2-3 ninth and looking to get this thing into extra innings. Here's the 3-2 home, and he'll do it with a fastball taken for strike 3. Extra innings on the south side tonight. We'll go to the 10th with a runner at second next. Well, here we go. Extra innings in Chicago tonight, and it'll start with a runner at second base. That's Jose Ramirez, and that's by virtue of his recording the last out in the previous inning. Not so easy, right? Everybody thinks bunt him over, fly ball, get a run. It hasn't gone down that way. We'll give you some numbers about that in a moment. The new pitcher for the White Sox is a guy who specializes in stranding base runners, Jimmy Cordero. Since the beginning of last season, 30 inherited runners, only one of them has scored. Lindor, Santana with a runner at second to start the 10th. First pitch to Francisco Lindor is a drive out to center field. Robert makes the catch. No way you're going to test that gun. Even oh, he almost airmailed it. But I mean, you can see an approach change too, right? I mean, Francisco Lindor was trying to just drive a ball in the outfield, move him over.
Yeah.
He's not trying to work the count there.
Nope.
Speaking of working the count, here's the master, Carlos Santana. 3 walks and a ground ball to second.
And you can put him on right here. That is your option. And look for the double play. Cordero fastball. Curveball change, fastball up to 100. That was 98, and has the gun show working tonight. Showing off the pipes.
Oh, and 1 to Santana. Delino DeShields on deck. Well, get a load of these numbers. Percentage of runs scored last year with a runner at second and nobody out. That run scored on average of just over 60%. The Rangers were the best at getting that guy home. The Tigers were the worst. We'll go back to that in a moment. On the ground to the left side, and everybody's going to be safe. A tricky play for Moncada in the shift, and there'll be runners at first and third with 1 away.
Tough play right there. 3 back-to-back fastballs against Santana. Nice job getting there. The transfer. Would have been bang, bang at first anyways.
Yeah.
But if you're the White Sox, you're still a ground ball away from getting out of this inning. Look for the ground ball double play.
Delino DeShields will be the batter. Some of the best speed on the Indians roster. First and third with one gone. Are you surprised to see that the MLB average scoring a run with nobody out, runner at second, is only 60%?
No, because I think the emphasis of playing small baseball is gone. And I think those teams that can capitalize on playing old school baseball when it counts, I think are going to be big winners.
These two teams were pretty good at it last year. The White Sox, 70% of the time, runner at second, nobody out, they scored. And the Indians at 63%, top 10. This is the 16th extra innings game this year. DeShields bunting, and the squeeze play works.
I mean, this is what I've been waiting for. This is the safety squeeze. Put the ball in play, and the runner at third base just follows. Executed beautifully on the front side by DeShields, on the back side by Ramirez. Beautiful, small baseball will equal winning baseball. I love it.
What a terrific bunt that time. Grandal thought his best chance was to come in and try to underhand the toss home, just a moment late on a close play at home, and the Indians get that run across. It's a jam shot by Domingo Santana, and a hard slide at second prevents a relay. DeShields interrupting what could have been an inning-ending double play.
Close place at second base right here.
Delino's not moving yet. But he is out, isn't he?
It's bang bang. The shortstop with a lob ball to the second baseman. As a shortstop, you want to give that ball very firm. And you see how slow that ball's coming?
Wow, that's as close
as it
gets.
DeShields a shot.
Indians are challenging this.
Yeah. And you see that, Matty? That's just a soft, that's like a circle change. As a shortstop, you want to give that ball very firm. If he gives it to him firm, it's an easy out.
Boy, is that close. Again, there's been all kinds of misinformation out there about what constitutes the out. The ball's got to be in the glove. It's got to cross the plane of the glove, not be in the back of the glove. The call is that DeShields is out. Indians challenging that.
And as a second baseman, you got to come out and be like a first baseman and go out and stretch. The double play's over. Go out and stretch, become a first baseman, ensure that you have an out. You can't be catching that ball near your chest. So mistake for the shortstop because of the lob, mistake for the second baseman because catching it way too close to the body. Get out there and grab it.
And the call's upheld. DeShields is out at second. Like the clever use by the White Sox PA people. Let it be. Let the call stand. So DeShields is out. Delino with the news he didn't want to hear, but that sac bunt was a beauty. Guy whose season and career as an Indian got off to a slow start because of a positive COVID-19 diagnosis. Traded for Corey Kluber. Like, there's a little pressure on Delino.
Indeed.
And he has really delivered tonight.
And that's a play they used to use a lot in Texas. The safety squeeze. And all this talks about home runs and spin rate and all of this.
Runners at the corners for Mike Freeman, and he's cashed in. Santana scores, and it's a two-run Cleveland advantage.
Another fastball here, 98. This time ready to hit. Right back up the box. Good hitting. And a good inning here for Indians baseball. Indians offense thinking small, big things happening. And this could be the inning that gets this Indians offense going for the rest of the year.
5-3 Cleveland, top of the 10th, 2 gone. And looking for more, it'll be the catcher, Sandy Leon. So, you know, we get a great glimpse here of the strategy, or the non-strategy, if you will. You talked about it a moment ago. After that runner gets on, the team playing defense, quote unquote, the team in the field has choices. Do you walk a guy at some point to try to get the ground ball? How do you defend against the sacrifice? All the elements of small ball come back into play. So for the games that have gone to extra innings this year, and as we mentioned, this is the 16th, about half of them have ended after 10 innings. But there have been many failed attempts to get that run in immediately. A couple of these games have gone 13.
Wow.
Despite the runner at second to start the inning. It's not an automatic.
Now remember, Matty, the Indians have not allowed 5 runs all year. If that stands, this will be a win for the Indians.
And Leon puts it in play to the right side to retire the side. However, Cleveland gets a pair. Going to the bottom of the 10th.
Love it.
5-3 try. Jose Ramirez scores the go-ahead run. Another is added, and a now 5-3 Indians lead. One that belongs to Brad Hand to try to save, the 3-time All-Star left-hander. Off to kind of an uneven start. Yes, he's 4 for 4 in save opportunities, but he's given up runs in 2 of his 5 outings. And he'll go to work on the bottom of the White Sox order here to try to shut down business on this Sunday night. So as was the case in the top of the inning, the man who recorded the last out in the previous inning, in this case Nomar Mazara, is the runner at second base. Robert, McCann, and Mendick. And there is a light rain falling in Chicago at this hour. One that looks like it's about to intensify if this game continues and we go deeper. Into foul territory, and no play for Santana. Ironically, the first one of these new rules extra innings games was won by the Oakland A's, a walk-off grand slam. So it wasn't small ball on that night, but boy, it sure was here in the top of the 10th inning tonight. Safety squeeze and then an RBI single, and it's still 1-2. Rain really picking up now. Robert swings and sends a ball out to left. Maybe Mother Nature had a hand in knocking that one down a little bit. Mazara to third with one away.
Uh-oh. It's coming down hard. And when it's raining this hard, advantage goes to the pitcher because you can't see the ball as well, and that bat starts slipping around in your hand. You got to put a little bit extra stickum and pine tar.
Oscar Mercado has taken over in left field for Freeman after Freeman delivered that big hit in the top of the inning. 2 gone for James McCann. You know, only if the conditions become unsafe will the umpires decide to pause this one. But with 2 gone, 10th inning, they want to get a conclusion in. A 1 gone, rather.
Absolutely.
James McCann's had a nice night. He's singled and homered. Off the end of the bat out to center field. Zimmer started out and then comes in, plays it off a hop. That brings in Mazzara, and it's a 1-run game. And now McCann will be pinch run for, tying runs on base.
And hits this ball at the end of the bat. Bad read by the center fielder. Takes a step back. It cost him. Base hit and an RBI. And you see that hesitation there. And as an outfielder, especially late in the game, you're taught to keep that ball in front of you. He caught a break there by keeping him at first base.
So now Danny Mendick. Ryan Goins is the pinch runner. Boy, has this plot thickened. Rain's really coming down. What looked like a pretty safe 2-run lead is now a not so comfortable 1-run advantage. Winning runs at the plate. And still only 1 away.
The White Sox still have Encarnacion on the bench as a right-handed power hitter.
Three balls and no strikes.
Got to take a strike here.
Wow. And you can't help but believe that the rain has made it even harder to try to throw a strike on this night now. And here comes Carl Willis. They're looking for a ground ball to get out of the rain and get out of here with a win.
And Encarnacion, who has the bum shoulder, he may not be available tonight.
Quick conversation with Hand. Oh, that's it. It looks like they're pulling people off. No, just want a towel. Somebody's still having fun. It's really coming down here. Jeremy Rehak just wanted a towel to wipe off the plate. Here we go.
One swing can win it for the White Sox.
Back to Leury Garcia. You can hear it. It's coming down so hard.
And the White Sox have one of the best ground screw guy in baseball, Roger Bozard. He's been there since 1983. and he is the best in the business.
They're dragging him in now. It's just there's just no chance. You just can't pitch in this. So this one's going to be in an official delay. And judging by the radar, the White Sox and Indians might be here for a while. Oh boy. We're going to take a break, sort things out, and we'll be back to let you know what's going on in a rain delay in Chicago. The field to become playable. And by the way, it became playable in a very short amount of time based on what we saw on the radar. So here we go. Runners at first and second, one gone. The White Sox have made it a one-run lead again. And Oliver Perez, who's got 4 career saves in 18 years in the big leagues, is looking for 2 big outs. It looks like he's got one of them on one pitch as Luis Garcia flies out to shallow right. So after a 44-minute delay and taking over a 1-0 count from Oliver Perez, Garcia pops out. It's going to be up to Yoan Moncada. What a weird night this turned into.
It sure has. And, you know, for a guy like Oli Perez, 18 years in the big leagues, has seen everything. Maybe not this. 50-50 fastball slider and a little Luis Tiant. Twist, pause, and go.
Yeah, he is coming at you with all elbows and kneecaps. And when Oli Perez debuted at the age of 20 with the San Diego Padres back in 2002, he was wiry and energetic. They called him the Culiacan Kid from Culiacan, Mexico. 18 years later, there's a little more salt in the hair. And he's still getting big league hitters out. A ball and a strike to Yoan Moncada.
And in case these two switch hitters get on, you have the right-handed Abreu up. Indians should have a righty waiting to face him.
Tying and winning runs aboard in the bottom half of the 10th. 2 balls and a strike. It seems like another night now after the rain delay that Shane Bieber drew Lucas Giolito. And those two were as advertised tonight. Giolito struck out 9, Bieber 8. It's fine print, but the Indians are trying to keep a streak alive where they have not allowed more than 4 runs in a game all year. And if they can do that tonight, they're going to win this series. Sox down to their final strike.
Wet night in Chicago. Big pitch. If you're Perez, you don't want to get to 3-2, so the runners start. Don't give the White Sox a running start. Get them right here.
Two balls and 2 strikes to Yoan Moncada. Did he go around? Foul tip hung on to, and that's going to wrap it up for just the 5th time in an 18-year career. Oli Perez has recorded the save. A most unusual ending to a most entertaining night of baseball on the south side of Chicago. The Indians outlast the White Sox 5-4 the final score. We'll see you next Sunday in the Bronx. For Alex Rodriguez, Buster Olney, Matt Vasgersian, thanks for watching tonight. Now, sorry for the interruption. We'll send you back to Kenny and Steve at Sports Center.